previous episodes. All right. So that's SMEGROWTH.ng. So tell your neighbor, tell your friend, tell your business partner, hey, tell your competitor. There's love and sharing, right? Tell them to tune into Radio Nigeria right now, wherever they are in Nigeria. And peradventure, they're outside of the country. They can just head over to smegrowth.ng to listen online. Okay, we got you covered, all of the angles. Well, last week on the show, we introduced you to agency banking, all right, and how it can make your life easier. As I said, in case you missed that episode, you can always listen back on our website, smegrowth.ng. But what do we have for you today? We're talking something very important. Well, it ties to what we discussed last week. We're taking it up a notch, essentially. We're about to show you how agency banking can empower you financially. Simply put, let me just break it down. How you can earn and make money through agency banking. I mean, the only thing a lot of us love more than money is more money. So why say no to a radio show that will teach you how to make more money? I mean, I wouldn't say no to it. I don't know about you. So just sit back, relax, whatever it is you're up to, get comfortable. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road, okay? If you're not wearing a seatbelt, please do that right away. It is very important to be safety conscious. But whatever it is, keep your ears locked on this dial. And if you're watching us online, keep your eyes and ears locked on, okay? But what is beautiful about the show is the fact that you can join us on the program, all right? You can call in, you can send us a message. Essentially, you can also be a part of this show, okay? So this is the number to call or text. If you have a pen, if you've got your phone, just type these numbers, all right? When it's time to call in or to send a text message, do it right away. The number to call us through or text through is 0810 608 1681 or 0818 202 5883. For the benefit of those of us who didn't catch it the first time, I'll just take it again. 0810 608 1681 or 0818 202 5883. So let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. How can agency banking help you make more money? How can it empower you financially? How can it provide that much needed job which you've been looking for? Well, this is the right place to be. And I've got brilliant experts here with me today. The Money Gang is full, I can tell you that quite all right. My guests on the program today have combined decades of experience in the financial services sector, and they will be giving us all of the much needed advice that we need. They'll be giving us the pointers in the right direction to make agency banking the next empowerment for you and, hey, for me as well, just in case. All right, so let's meet our guest. I'll begin with the lady amongst us. Yes, we have Bidemi Asuma. She's a group head, e-business and transaction banking at Premier Trust Bank. Bidemi, thank you for joining us on the show. And the other gentlemen who are with us today, I'll just introduce us, okay? Abednego Ogweke is the head financial inclusion services, First Bank of Nigeria Limited, joins us virtually, as well as Akinlabi Adegoke, who's the head of commercial digital banking group at Polaris Bank. Good to have you as well. Lawyer Senokai was with us last week, and he makes a return, right? He's a regional manager, agency and direct banking, FCT North Central at EcoBank. Aloy, good to have you on the show, as well as Olatumbosu Animashaun joining us virtually as well. The unit head of virtual banking and ATM business at Union Bank. Lady and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And of course, not forgetting Lawrence Obi, MD CEO, Connect Point Tech Solutions Limited. Of course, Connect Point Tech Solutions is SANEF partner and super agent. In case you're wondering, what does SANEF mean? Not to worry, SANEF essentially is Shared Agent Network Expansion Facilities Limited, and that's an enabler in the financial inclusion ecosystem in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to once again welcome you to the show. So let's get right into it. I mean, a lot of us see financial or agency banking, to be specific, as a solution to financial inclusion, essentially bringing financial solutions closer to the people. And rightly so. But apparently, there is more to agency banking than that. So let's just get started. Let's tear this open for our listener out there. And I'll, of course, begin with the lady amongst us. Abidemi, help us ease into this conversation. How can agency banking, let's just put it simply, how can agency banking empower me or the person listening out there? How can it empower us financially, Abidemi?
All right. Thank you, Kade. Thank you to the audience watching us today, and to my professional colleagues also on this call. Great to also have you on board. Just to hit the question straight on the head, um, I would say that I get excited when I hear about agency banking and how it empowers SMEs, and most importantly, not just SMEs. So SMEs is more or less like using a very big word, but I would say that to everyone, every person trying to do a trading business, as little as okay, I'm just in front of my house, or I have a place in my house, and I'm able to do some form of trading. Agency banking has been able to empower this set of people. And empowering them means that he's able to create business opportunity or create income streams for them to be able to improve their lives. So I would say that agency banking goes a long way in improving lives. A typical, would I say, a typical tailor, let me use a tailor, let me using the word tailor, like a lot of people like to use the fashion designer, or let me just use, typical tailor has a shop and he does his normal business. And aside doing that business of tailoring business, he also has a point of sale terminal, which is the POS, that by the side is able to earn additional income by way of providing financial services to the average individual on the road. We know that today prices of fair prices are on the increase due to the increase in fuel price. And a lot of people will not want to go all out there to say they're looking for bank ATMs and the likes. So definitely would go to maybe the tailoring shop just close by, and to be able to do what? Just to do a simple withdrawal, and that takes off for that consumer, that takes off the cost of transportation. Now for the tailor, I would say, as using that as a real life situation, is earning money from fees and commissions from those types of transactions. There are other things that they do on the point of sale terminals, like bill payments. You want to do your NEPA bill and all the other types of utility bills. And when all of these transactions happen on the point of sale terminals, some form of fees and commission, no matter how small, is being earned by um, by that tailor. And that means that it increases the income for that individual or that business, and as such is empowering such business. We've had instances today where we have people that probably like maybe drivers, and they're able to empower their wives by their wives becoming agents, and they provide those opportunities for them to be able to earn more income. So probably the wife is at home, and not, instead of just sitting at home, is able to provide basic banking services to people in that community. This is just looking at some examples, but clearly it's really a way of empowering a lot of people to be able
Yeah.
to earn more income and have additional source of income. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bidemi. I like the angle you brought in. I mean, petrol prices really expensive now, so it will cost you a lot to want to go to that bank. You probably have to spend, if you're in Lagos here, you probably have to spend 500 naira, 1,000 naira to do what? To do a transaction of 10,000 naira. But imagine you could just take a stroll to that fashion design tailor's shop, the vulcanizer's shop closest to you, and do the same transaction. Voila, you've saved yourself money. But on the flip side, you realize that as a vulcanizer, as that tailor, you're also making money off fees and commissions. So, hey, it is a win-win, literally. But I'd like all of us to take a minute to just do round robin right now and talk about a success story you know about, someone who's gone into agency banking and has a success story out of it. I imagine there's a lot of them, but we'll pick one, and each of us for a minute just share that before we get into how the listener out there can engage agency banking for real to empower them. So Akinlabi, you're up next. Tell us one success story from agency banking.
Hi everyone. All protocols duly observed. I mean, agency banking has been in the country or available to Nigerians for quite a bit, and some of the beneficiaries of that scheme include some individuals, like Bidemi mentioned, who run businesses and who are able to leverage their businesses to provide banking services to people in their localities. So there's a particular case in my bank, for instance, who is an agent or who naturally is a barber, and is a barber in one of the popular Lagos bus parks. He has a small barbing salon, and he barbs the drivers or the bus drivers when they come in the morning or in the evening, whenever they have time to barb. He typically would used to make around 10 to 15,000 per month doing that, barbing and engaging his customers. He then onboarded, got a POS terminal, and was armed with the tools to function as an agent. And gradually, all of the traffic that permeates the garage on a daily basis became his customers. He would render the basic financial services to them, from cash withdrawal to funds transfer to bills payment and all other types of services that he would render. In fact, he started to run some sort of thrift for them as a unit. He became respected, and today he earns about 1,000% more than he was earning before. That's just an example of someone who had a trade, leveraged it, built on it, and then inserted agency banking into it and became very profitable.
Wow. I mean, just to put that in proper context, when Akinlabi says 1,000 more, that's times 10, 1,000%. So if he was earning 15,000, I mean, multiply that by 10, that means he was earning 150,000, all because he ventured into this world of agency banking. Goodness me. Aloy, you're up next. I'm loving these success stories. And by the way, there are thousands more, but just so that we can pick these success stories and bring it to our audience. Aloy, you have a minute. Do you have any success story you want to share with us from agency banking?
Okay, yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. And basically, like one of my colleagues said earlier, agency banking is a service outlet. So there's a cost to service. There's a cost to service, and for every time you provide service, you earn a commission, you earn a fee. So we had this guy who was a sales boy actually near a motor park. But he still does the business till tomorrow. He's still an agent. It's one of our biggest agents around Jabi Motor Park. So he discovered that most times when people are traveling, they either want to withdraw money and they either want to send money. And he came to the bank to request to become an agent. We onboarded him as an agent. He started with processing around 50 transactions daily. And as time went on, his transactions count grew to 100, 200. He became big. He got a second terminal, a third terminal, and a fourth terminal. So you can imagine somebody who was a sales boy near a motor park and then saw opportunity of people always coming to, because there was actually one agent within that motor park then. So he became the second agent and became bigger. So if you are processing, let us say 300 transactions daily, and on the minimum you are charging 200 naira per transaction that you are processing. So you can see how much comes to him on a daily basis, and then you take that math for a month and a year. So it's an opportunity because it's a service provision. Agency banking is providing service, and then of course there's cost to service. Again, let me just quickly mention another success story. There was this woman in a village somewhere around Lugbe also, who took it upon herself to open accounts, because agents also do open accounts. So for every account that is opened and funded, we pay them around 400 naira. So this woman opens almost 100 accounts in a week for people. So you can imagine just by account opening alone, how much the agent was making as at that time. So there are a lot of success stories, people who have been on the street looking for what to do, and then they stumble on agency banking and they become financial service providers, and they are also making money because they are earning a fee for every service they provide. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Aloy. In case you're wondering, I mean, where's Jabi? Where's the way? That's in the nation's capital, Abuja. So you see that, I mean, these opportunities are across the country, whether you're in a rural area, the urban area, the opportunities are there for you with agency banking. And I'm glad about these success stories. By the way, people are telling me, tell us how to get on board agency banking. Okay, leave the success stories we've heard. We know that there's success in it. But it's okay. It's okay. We just wanted to lay the foundation. By the way, the number to call or send us a message through is 0810 608 1681. I'm seeing some traction here. Or 0818 202 5883. So clearly you can see that there are thousands of success stories, people who have engaged agency banking and yet they're the better for it. I'll just give the example of someone in the rural area, then another person at a motor park, Akulabi as well, give the example. So maybe as time goes on, we might be touching on some of these success stories, well, if time permits, but just so that we can serve people with a very important part of this, which is how can I become an agent banker? Let me go to Olatubosu on this one, okay? I mean, if you have a success story, you can add it to it, but more importantly, people are asking me, kind of the live story. How do I become an agency banker? So tell us, Olatubosu.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Nice to be on the show. Just a quick one on the success story. This just a slight difference. One of the problems that agency banking helps to solve is what you do with your liquid cash. So we have some businesses that generate lots of cash and then worry how to deal with the cash. Because of safety, sometimes they tend not to want to take such home. Agency banking helps you recycle the cash. So what that means is you can use that same cash that you've collected as deposit to pay out to customers that are interested in doing cash withdrawal transactions, and you also make money off it. Just to bring that slight angle to it. But to become an agent today is quite simple because of the drive of central bank and the bankers committee to make sure that the financial services get to every nook and cranny of the country. Becoming an agent is quite easy. So there are two scenarios to it. The first one is registering through a deposit money bank. So you could walk up to any financial institution. Today, the requirements are quite simple. You probably need just a CASA account, that's either a current account or a savings account. A current account currently has 2 guarantors, and that makes it easy for you to get onboarded. So usually there's an onboarding form that you'll be required to fill, where you'll be able to specify what kind of business you own, how often or the volume of transactions expected, depending on the traffic that comes to your business. If it's a savings account, you'll be required to bring 2 other guarantors, either 2 existing agents or guarantors that meet certain criteria, depending on the bank you walk up to. By the time you fill the forms, you'll be onboarded automatically. In some cases, under 24 hours, you can become an agent. So some financial institutions allows you to start carrying out transactions on alternative channels, either through USSD or the mobile application on your phone. By the time you meet certain criteria, then you'll qualify to get a POS terminal. While some financial institutions deploy terminals to you from the onset, depending on how you have been profiled as an agent. The other option is to become a sub-agent under this super agent model, where you would form part of a group of agents under one super agent that probably has a license to run such a model, or falls under other financial institutions that will flow through under that realm. Thank you.
Oh, there you go. Thank you so much, Olasomoso. So it's quite easy. I mean, listening to Olasomoso, I realized that a lot of the things you need to get on board agency banking, most people have it already, either your current account or your savings accounts. Most people have that already. And then, of course, you can either register as an agent or just go to an existing agent and register under them. But the point is, I mean, this is quite easy. Just walk up to a bank and get this sorted. And this doesn't look like something that will take weeks to get you on board. Clearly, this is easy peasy. Just meet the criteria and voila, you're in. So let's move on now. At least we've scratched the surface on how you can get on board. But let me bring in Bednigo here. In addition to a success story, which I imagine you have, by the way, there are tons of them, as I said. He's spoken about super agent, sub agent, and I imagine people are wondering, what does this mean? Super agent, sub agent. So help us understand the categories of agency banking so we can better understand how the sector, the subsector, or the sub economy of agency banking works and where I can best fit in.
All right. Good evening, everyone. All protocols duly observed. Of course, we have a whole lot of success stories, but my colleagues have mentioned them already. So I will just mention one. And that's really the opportunity that you have, right? If you become an agent, you then can have access to a network of other people who are already playing in the agent banking space. And that could help you grow your business. So we have someone who onboarded with us in First Bank. And, he was doing kerosene business by the time he became our agent. But what then happened was, because of the fact that he now is connected to a network of other agents in his area, he saw an opportunity to expand his business into other areas. So today he is importing POS receipts, he's bringing in things and selling to other agents. So there is a whole lot of opportunities that people can actually get, from being agents. You find other people also who came into agent banking with just a single store, but today they have been able to expand to 6, 7 other locations. And that also then helps them to employ people, which of course, continues to impact the economy and the community in which they live. Now, to the question that you asked around what the difference around super agents, sole agents, and sub agents. Super agents are organizations that are licensed by a central bank to be able to recruit agents and manage them on behalf of the principals. Now, principals could be deposit money banks, microfinance banks, and other people who, are signing a partnership opportunity with the super agents, those licensed individuals or licensed companies to be able to recruit and manage agents. So super agents aggregate other agents under them. Now you have sole agents. Sole agents are like individuals or businesses who will then approach a principal, somebody, an institution like a First Bank who is into agent banking and say, I want to become an agent. Now, a sole agent does not delegate any responsibility to anyone, right? He signs the contract himself. He provides what is required for him to run the business, and then he runs it and takes all the responsibilities directly. Now, sub-agents are people who can go under a super agent, for example, right, to register. So the super agent delegates the responsibility of providing financial transactions to those sub-agents who are operating under super agents. So all of those are the categories that you have. And it's really as easy as just approaching your bank or your super agent and indicating that you want to become an agent. You'll be taken through what is required and which which category that you can fit in. So it's as easy as just walk into your bank and indicate interest, and the rest will then be done with you.
Thank you very much, Abednego, for that. So he's broken it down from the super agent, sole agent, to sub agent, so you know how the value chain works and where you can fit in. Exactly. You can call us, by the way. I mean, you can present your own peculiar case in case you want questions, or rather answers to your questions. Maybe that thorny question on your mind. You're interested in this, or you still have questions. 0810 608 1681. Or you can also send us messages, by the way. We'll open the phone lines right after the break. So you can also message or call us on 0818 202 5883. Yes, you've called us. I've seen numbers calling in, but just hold on for a moment and then we'll take your calls. But before we go on that break, I need to bring in Lawrence on this one. Lawrence, you're a super agent, really. Connect Point Tech is a super agent, and I imagine how excited you are about this super agent's value chain. So before we go to break in just about a minute or two, tell us about the success story. And I really want you to talk about this and just how it has empowered people. Then we'll move on to other issues, Lawrence.
All right. Thank you for having me. So I'm excited to be, part of this conversation. Our success story. So Connect Point has been in business. Let me say Connect Point got licensed, by the CBN last year. Before then, there are quite minimum criteria that CBN, expects you to have done before you approach them for license. And for me, one of the stories is that we started actually as agents and then graduated to sub-agents before we now got our license as super agents. So I think we have the experience of, from the grassroots, growing to getting our license from the CBN. So I've seen people's life being transformed who had nothing, who are starting from zero, starting from just having an umbrella to going to a shop, having a shop and growing to maybe 2 locations, 3 locations. I've seen people run over, 4 or 5 locations across different regions. So for us, it has been, a success story, and it actually has, you see the growth pattern, for everyone who has actually come in. So let me give an example before, very briefly. I've had, a lady in Apapa, her name is Ngozi, who started, she finished school and then didn't know what to do about with her life. And she actually approached me because I was wearing my T-shirt of C Point agent. And she approached me and said, okay, how can I be an agent, right? And she said, I don't have anything. So one of the things we did for her was we were able to set her up in Apapa. It was actually a market location around Oludi Apapa. And from doing transaction of 25,000, she now does transaction daily worth over 300,000. As of today, she's able to pay her bill. She has a shop. We also had other people. I could remember Zahra Dean in Kano, Sabongeri, not Sabongeri, Brigade for that matter, because we were there, on foot to be able to see what's happening in that location. So agency banking has actually helped quite a lot of people, to go out from, that level of extreme poverty, to be able to provide, jobs and businesses for people. Because of our time, I think let me stop there. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I mean, if I leave you, I know you can go on with those success stories. And I mean, it's important to tell those stories, but we're due for a break now. When we return, we're not just telling you about success stories or how you can be an agent banker, how you can empower yourselves. We'll even be going in depth into how you can run that business, how you can run it effectively such that you can succeed. Positioning, business model. We'll get into all of that on the show this afternoon. Don't forget, this evening rather, you can call us 0810 608 1681 or 0818 202 5883. This is still the MSME radio show brought to you by the Bankers Committee. I'll be back in a few seconds. Stay with us. that, go to your phone or your WhatsApp, your messaging, and type 0810 608 1681 or 0818 202 5883. Those are the numbers to call. And if you want to watch us online, you can go over to smegrowth.ng to see what is going on in the studio. So let's get back to my guests. Brilliant, I must say. I'm enjoying this conversation. So let me go back to Abidemi Asumo. Agent banker, I have gotten the approval from the bank, but then I need to understand how to set up my business. It's one thing to just do a business, it's another thing to do it right. So tell us, what are the factors that I need to consider to thrive, to really make that money as an agent banker? Abidemi.
All right, just want to be sure you can hear me.
Oh, yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, thank you so much, Faraday. All right, so striving as an agent banker, it's extremely critical, and actually that's one of the main reasons why we're here today and trying as much as possible to help the SMEs. I think one of the things that one can do to thrive as an agent banker is maybe even right from setup, you're looking also at the location that you are. I think that's extremely critical. But however, irrespective of the location, one way or the other, people will still get to know you. But they can get to know you by also doing something else, which is about, no matter how little, there should be some form of brand visibility to say, I am doing this. So, and I'm sure that today we see quite a number of locations where it's, oh, POS is here, ATM is here, and all of that. Okay, so there must be awareness. There must be a form. One must create some form of awareness or creating brand visibility, like we say it in our space. So that's also extremely critical too. I think one of the things that is also critical is being able to partner with businesses that can help generate cash. We can't totally take away cash now. We still know that we are still to an extent driven by cash. And also for the agents and banker, over time, people will do come along to say, I need cash, and beyond the other services. So if that agent banker partners with another probably SME who generates more cash than he or she does, or that business does, is also a way by which that agent's banking business can also grow too. I think one of the things that is also critical, I would say, is to an extent, there must be fair pricing. You always would want repeat calls to your site, so you also would want to have fair pricing when you are telling your customers about what charge you're taking for a cash transfer or a card payment and all of that. So there truly must be fair pricing to have repeat calls. I think one other thing that is extremely critical for that agent banking business to thrive will be customer service. Customer service is extremely critical. You must be nice to your customers. You must not take them for granted. You must be nice to them. And I think that would also go a long way for that agent bank business to strive, because once you are doing that, there'll be a lot of referrals. That's just the summary, and that's typical for every other business. So it's something an agent banker must also try to imbibe in his or her business too. I think one other thing also is really about how do you help? You're still around customer service, and it happens a lot. How do you help your own customers and agent banker? How do you help them resolve their disputes, really? If you're helping them resolve their disputes and what we bankers call chargebacks, and basically it means that, there's a discrepancy or a contention in a payment or so.
Yeah.
So you're able to help them go through that process to the extent that they're able to resolve a complaint that come in and you're able to resolve it timely. And even if you're not resolving it timely due to one issue or the other, you still find one way or the other to help them get it fixed. So I think let me just stop here. There's so much more to be done, but I think I've said some key things that are extremely critical. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abidemi. So with a mix of, some of those pointers, you are definitely on your way to making it as an agent banker. Customer service, very important. It's not enough to just provide a service. You need to be kind. You need to be respectful. Customer service is key. Fair pricing. Oh, yes. I remember there was this uproar about the, hike in the price, the charges and all of that. But fair pricing is important. Okay, don't charge too much, else you chase your customers away. But there's more to this one. So let me go over to Akilabi and just bounce this off you as well. Are there more strategies to succeeding as an agent banker beyond just getting the license, the approval to start business? What more could you perhaps add to what Abidemi has said about the strategy?
Bidemi pretty said a lot of it. But I'd like to just add the fact that, some of the players in the space, or most of the players in the agency banking space, also offer to their downlines, to their agents, basic business entrepreneurship trainings, basic trainings on how to run a business, on how to keep your books. And we find that the most successful agents are the ones who take all of those things seriously, and the ones who realize that, taking on another aspect of business and adding to what they're doing will require them to upskill and require them to learn certain things. So profitability, at the heart of profitability, is knowledge. And there are multiple knowledge sharing sessions organized by by either the super agents or the FIs, that help agents properly understand the business and properly position, to be as profitable as they can be. Bidemi already mentioned location. If you remember the example I gave earlier, it's critical that an agent is sited in a location with high footfall. If you are on a street where there's only 2 houses and you would only serve maximum of 5-6 customers, it wouldn't be as profitable as if you were in a location that had a very high footfall. Malls, garages, markets, those are the types of places where you're guaranteed some level of patronage because there will be, need for those services there. So I think when you add Bidemi's answer to mine, anyone who's signing up to be an agent would be very profitable.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Kilabi. Something came to mind. I know a particular agent. Yes, where the agent is not as buoyant. There isn't much, population there. But because of the kindness of the agent, because of customer service, you find out that a lot of people come from far just to patronize that agent. And I think it ties to, the points made earlier. So all of these ideas, really, if you put them into practice, then you're definitely on your way to making it as an agent banker. Let me bring in Aloy and let's talk about risk management, because when it comes to money, anything that has to do with money, funds, there's always a security angle to it. So how do you really manage risk as an agent banker? What are the ways to best protect yourself from, the usual issues, perhaps theft, attack, fraud, and the rest? Aloy.
Okay, good question. Now, when it comes to risk management in terms of both physical security, I'm going to talk about 2 aspects broadly: the physical security of the agent, and then there's also this aspect of counterfeit currency, fake notes, what is generally called fake notes out there, counterfeit currency, and all of that. So we always advise, for example, at EcoBank, the location of an agent, we prefer a locked up location, because these days you walk around, there are various categories of agents. So you see agents who are operating under an umbrella just outside, they are carrying their stuff. So we advise a locked up location, something that creates a kind of barrier between you and the customer. So the customer has to, there's some form of barrier that does not allow the customer have full access to you. And then we are looking at locations where you have high footfall, high activity. For example, you look at the motor park, you look at the plaza, you look at all those places. There are many people around those locations that will prevent individuals from just coming in to say they want to physically move the cash that the agent has within the premises. Also, we also advise, we also train on cash level, physical cash holding level. An agent that has operated for 3 months, 6 months will have an idea of the volume of both physical cash and electronic floats they require to do their business. So you must always maintain that. There are certain transactions that will come to you as an agent. You see, somebody cannot come to an agent, for example, and say maybe a standalone agent, so they say I want to deposit 5 million naira. You may not have the capacity to process cash of 5 million naira or thereabout. So there's also a limit. You should maintain a certain limit, something you can quickly handle. And then for agents who are within a locked up location, we also encourage them to have mercury light, because mercury light is the safest way to certify counterfeit currency. So having a mercury light and continuous engagement in terms of education as to how to operate. And we also build relationship with security agencies that are close by. If there's a police station, oh, I'm an agent, I operate around this area and all of that. That's informally. But basically what we just advise is that your location is locked up and then you don't operate in an isolated area where only the agents can be easily isolated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aloy. If you're just joining us, just in case you bumped into this conversation and you're wondering, okay, I like this. How can I be a part of this? I missed some part of it. Not to worry. You can always listen to us again or just call us right now. Call us right away with whatever question you have. The lines are open now. 0810 608 1681 or 0818 202 5883. I'll be taking your messages and your calls and getting our guests to answer the questions right away. 0818 202 5883 or 0810 608 1681. In case you still have more questions. As I said, you can get through to us right away. But let me go to Olatumosun. And still on this point of managing risks, ensuring that your business is safe, your small business. I mean, for a lot of people, that's literally the only thing they have. Then there's no buffer. You're talking about someone who was unemployed and is moving to some sort of livelihood. What kind of, would I say, insurance is available from? Perhaps is it the regulators, from the government agencies regulating this? What kind of support is available from the top? Is there anything like that?
Okay, so thank you for that question. I'll start from the financial institution. The first insurance has to do with the physical terminal. So for every agent today that owns a physical POS terminal, there's an insurance policy attached to it, such that where maybe the POS terminal is stolen or by chance you can no longer find it, it helps the financial institution reclaim from the insurance, and we're able to purchase and redeploy another terminal for you. In terms of the cash, because the cash is physically with the agent, I think the focus for us has always been to help the agents with how best to secure their physical cash. Most financial institutions do not take so much of a responsibility for cash. However, the regulatory bodies overseeing this service, that's CBN and the FANEP, would always find a middle ground where there's a genuine case for an agent to report where cash is stolen and there's no would I say liability or complacency from the agent side. CBN acts as the mediator between the banks and all the financial institutions, the super agents and the agents. But realistically, I think for in terms of risk, the agents focus would always be for the agents to be well educated when it comes to not just protecting their physical cash, because that's the basis for the agency banking model, but also the card, because you also have to comply with PCI DSS standards, where information around the customer's cards are also protected. Because we've seen cases of where customers have had to report cases of whether it's their card information stolen while being used at the agent location. But basically, in summary, I think cash is the number one subject when it comes to agency banking, and we rather focus on providing education and also, guiding them on how to best protect themselves. But we also encourage them to also insure their cash and their business. Insurance is not something typical Nigerian takes. Put so much cognizance on, or just as financial institutions put so much emphasis on insurance, is also
Indeed.
good, and would advise the agents to insure their business, including cash. Thank you.
Okay, I mean, we're coasting home now. Looks like we've touched literally all of the angles, but of course there's more. And there's a question that was sent in. I'm going to keep that for Lawrence, but let me go to Abednego now and just ask, because this obviously has a lot of technology angle to it. And with technology comes the need for internet, the need for data, the need for devices, and the rest. Well, most people are good with that. I mean, even our grandmas, they're very good with WhatsApp and the rest. But tell us, for agency banking, what are the data and network security requirements that you need for this?
All right, thank you so much. So earlier on we had mentioned the channels that the agents are using to do transactions. So POS terminal is the major one, and the operators that give the POS terminals to the agents already have implemented the security for those transactions. Most of the transactions are card-based, and like the cards are PIN protected. So the application on the POS already provides security for the transactions that customers are going to do with their cards. You also have the USSD channel that some agents use to process transactions. That is also a very secure channel for customer transactions, because the USSD protocol already protects, it's such that if the phone number of the customer is gotten from the channel itself and not entered, and therefore that provides the security for processing that transaction. Some agents also use mobile apps. Now, again, the app that is done and installed on that phone for processing the transactions already will provide the security for the transaction. So customers can transact at agent locations with the confidence that their transactions are secure. But the agent himself also has responsibility to ensure that he is not exposing customer information, right? Yes. He is supposed to ensure that he's taking the details of customers who come at his location, right? So that if the transaction is disputed, there will be data that can be used to process that dispute. So documentation is very important. My colleagues have mentioned some of the documentation requirements, but that's very, very crucial. So they need to be able to take down the information of the customers. And in some cases, you would also require the KYC, like an ID of the person that you are transacting, because agent banking is something that is community-based. So you're essentially operating within a community where you are processing transactions for people in that community. If somebody that is not known to you comes to process transaction and the amount is asking to do is a big amount, then you want to be able to put on your risk management cap and ensure that you take down certain details, for example, the phone number of the person. In some cases, you can take even the ID of the person, just so that you can prove that this person is the one who did the transaction.
All right, thank you very much for that one. So let's wind down with this question. I mean, I kept the best for the last, I would say, and this is for you, Lawrence. So this question says, as an agent who's operating in a competitive location, yes, I know we've talked about all of those ways you can succeed and, make it as an agent banker, but this person says he or she's operating in a competitive location. So what do I do to get more customers? We have about 2 minutes to wind down. Any advice for this person, Lawrence?
Okay, for agency banking, one of the things that actually distinguishes you from your competitors around is actually the service you provide. People want to feel comfortable. People want to feel secure. People want to be sure that you're actually reliable. When we started initially with the location, one of the things people felt, we're doing from week one, we started with 0, and then monthly we're doing around 200 transactions on a daily basis. So because we created an environment where people could feel at home instead of going to the bank. They felt it's more comfortable, easier, and I know these people to be able to do transaction. And then it's also good to seek and increase your capacity to be able to handle people's transaction. Anytime someone comes to you and the next thing he's saying is that, "Oga, no cash, no, they will not do transaction." They already, they won that experience already. They will stop coming, or they come to do transaction. Say, they come to do transaction maybe by 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. You're not around. You say, "Oh, I go market." So people want to be sure that anytime they come to meet you, you are reliable, you are available, and then their transaction, when transactions don't work or there's challenges or whatsoever, they're able to be communicated to. So you also need to be able to provide that same service, like you're an extension of the bank or the agents, the super agent. So you must be able to provide that service that will make the customers more confident, and they feel you. In the environment we say they feel this person, right? So I understand.
Right. I mean,
this guy, go to him now. This guy can deliver, make sure things work smoothly for you. So
thank you.
I think that's how you can distinguish yourself.
Thank you very much, Lawrence, for that pointer. So, I mean, you didn't tell us your name, but if you're listening, and that's an advice from Lawrence. His organization is a super agent now, literally started from the bottom and they're now at the top. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you so much for your contributions on the show this evening. It's been an amazing time. I personally want to jump into agency banking. That's what I always say, really. But thank you so much for your time. And for those who try to call in, we apologize. We had some challenges with the connection, but don't worry, next week you can always call us. Perhaps we'll add even WhatsApp call next week. But on behalf of the production team, the director, FRC and Lagos operations, Bolanle Woyemi, Maria Ooma, the assistant director programs, who's a producer, the engineering team, Latif Olatunde, Daniel Koye, Idowu Eusebio, and Ridwan Oladejo. Thank you to the team. They say teamwork makes the team work. So our guests, thank you so much as well. I'm Kayodo Kikilu, and don't forget to always make profit